Right. All the online students, is it audible now? I request all the online students need to be respond in the chat window. Could you please everyone respond in the chat window? Okay. All right, guys. Perfect then. Let's get started then. So the one we have been discussing about this particular aspect of cucumber, right? So we are understanding or we are working with this particular cucumber. While working this particular cucumber itself, it got its own framework, right? Cucumber itself, it got its own framework, which will be taking with BDD framework. So while working this particular BDD framework, we have to follow certain standards here. That is what we will be taking with future file. One will be considering that future file, and one will be taking with that particular step definition file, and then it will be taking with test run file here. So future file, it will be saying that if I'm just taking with the future file, which will be mentioned that to provide all that particular manual steps for developing automation script. So in the future file, what are the test cases we want to be get automated? All that particular test steps we got maintained in future file. According to that particular future file, for that particular manual steps, relevant automation methods or automation code we are maintaining in that particular step definition file here. Along with that, I will be taking with this particular aspect of test run file. According to the BDD, we required a test run file here. But for now, as part of the playwright, there is no concept of test run file. In a place of that, you will be taking with the help of that particular aspect of npx commands here. Okay. So previously we got understanded in which it will be taking with that particular aspect of steps here. So while working that particular cucumber, so how exactly you can go with that particular cucumber and what are all that particular steps need to be done? That is what we got understand here. Now continued with the same, we'll go with one more test case here. So previously we have been done with one particular test case. To get in a more clear picture, we will be taking with that particular one more test case. Let's see that how exactly it can go with that particular aspect of the test case here. Okay. Further, if we just look into that, which it will be taking with these particular steps has been followed, first we will be taking with future file. Now, in one particular future file, you can maintain multiple test cases. In one particular future file only, you can maintain multiple test cases. This is one particular option. This is one particular option. Otherwise, we can go with in maintaining or creating one more future file based on that particular requirement. For the time being, I'm just creating this particular new file. It will be taking with tc002 dot, it will be taking with the future. tc002 dot, it will be taking with that particular future. Right? So this is what I will be taking with. So tc002 dot future. Now, I was maintaining that particular manual step. See the manual steps here. I'm just taking with the second test case. I want to perform open application, login, and it will be taking with the logout. So what are the steps we got? Launching with the browser, entering with the URL. Once you enter into the URL, login into application. Login into application. Then it will be taking with logout. Logout from application. Then it will be taking with close browser. So according to the BDD standard or as part of the future file, whatever that manual steps are there, every manual step need to have. Every manual step need to have that particular perspective of keywords here, which it will be taking with given keyword, not given. I'll just go with right. So every manual step, it's required in a keyword that it will be taking with that particular when keyword. So you can go with any of the keyword here. So in common will be taking with, we can have. So that it will be taking with these particular steps here. Right? So this is what it will be taking with these particular steps here. So now for these particular manual steps, we are maintaining that particular corresponding methods. What is the first step we got? First step, launch browser. For launching with the browser, we are already having that particular method. Okay, same. When you work with hybrid framework, as already how you are having the methods, you are just reusing it. In the same way, while working BDD also related to that particular step, if that particular method is available, you will just continue with that. Okay, next. Enter URL. Enter URL also, that method we got. What is the next step? Login into application. Login into application. Okay. So here it will be taking with login into application. We don't have that method. So that we have to write it. See here. Now, so order can be anything. Methods order can be anything. It doesn't make any problem. You can write in any order. It doesn't make any of the problems here. Right? So which it will be taking with these particular respective steps here. Right. So this is what it will be using it. Okay. So now we can see here which we will be taking with when we will be providing the manual step. So this manual step, it's mandatory that it has to match with your future file. Okay. Then here we need to be get go with in enter that particular username, enter that particular password, click on login button and login completed. So we are entering with the username, entering with the password, which will be taking with click on that particular login button. Okay. Next. Next step. So next step we got log out from application. So that particular next step we got log out from application. Let me go with that particular step here, which I will be taking with that particular respective steps here. Okay, right. So let's see here. Log out from application, right? So which you will be taking with, which you will be mentioning that log out from application. Okay. Now for this, let's look into this mm, general.ts. So related to logout, there is no method. So related to that particular logout, we don't have that particular method which you will be able to go with in using this particular method. So that you will be mentioning that you will be taking with this particular keyword that you will be taking with one keyword. Okay. And then you will provide that particular step. That you will be mentioning that async. Okay. So this is what you will be considering that you will be maintaining that particular respective method here. So in this way, we can go with in implementing these particular respective steps here. So this is how you have to come up with in having these particular respective steps here. So which you will be taking with this particular logout statement need to be written. So as simple we have to go with, right? So here along with the keyword, these particular step need to match it. That is mandatory. In future file, whatever the manual step has been mentioned, that particular manual step, it's need to be get matched with this particular automation step. That is where it will be taking with the connectivity of both the things here. Okay. So now, according to the future file, we got all that particular methods are available. Then you will be taking with execution as usual. We'll go with open in integrated terminal. If I'm just taking with open in integrated terminal, you will be using with the both the commands npm run test. One you will be taking with npm run test, another one npx you will be taking with that particular cucumber JS, which you will be taking with that particular cucumber JS, and then you will be taking with that particular respective of tag name here. So first I'll go with this particular individual test case only. After that, we'll be taking with that particular test. I mean, test suite. Let's see that. So for now, I'm getting an issue, but I'll be resolving it. Just I need to update my version. So for now, I have not updated. Just you can see that it will be giving with the path issue here, but which I have been shown you like with the previous project. If you just look into these particular aspect of previous project, open in integrated terminal. So which I will be taking with these particular respective steps here. So in this particular one, it will be taking with, it will be having these particular respective steps here. So in this, I'll just take with that particular one. It will be taking with 0, 2. Okay. So it's need to be get table to get open that particular application and then taking with that particular login, and then you will be taking with this particular respective of logout. So which you will be taking with that particular respective of login, and then you will be taking with that particular logout, and which you will be taking with these particular steps here. So in this way, you will be having with this particular step, URL not opened. Huh? Let me rerun once again. Okay. So which it will be taking with that particular respective login and then taking with the logout and close the application here. Right? So in this way, you got an option in which you will be taking with these particular steps here. Right? Run. So now we can see here. So for now we are taking with individual test case here. So while working that particular individual test case, so while working that particular individual test case, first you are taking with NPX. NPX means Node Package Executor. Previously, what happened? Playwright, because you are executing the playwright, but not like playwright, right? You will be taking with the Cucumber. So because of that, we mentioned that particular Cucumber JS. Then you are giving with the tag name. Tag name is nothing but the filter. In your future file, whatever the test case ID is there, that particular test case ID, it has to match it. So based on that, it will understand which test case need to be get executed here. So this is individual test cases. Another option, you will be taking with NPX and then you will be taking with the run and you will be taking with the test. By that, for your project, whatever the future files are there, for your project, whatever that particular future files has been there, it will be executing all that particular future file. Now we got in two things, right? NPM, not NPX. And this is group, right? You will be taking NPM. So NPM, you will be taking with that particular run. You will be taking with that particular test here. Right? So which you will be taking with these particular steps. Now we can see here, you will be taking with these particular test sort. First test case, open application, close application. Automatically, it will be taking with the second test case also. It will just open that particular respective of second test case. See the report, how clearly the report has been generated. So that particular report has been generated. It will be taking with that particular two scenarios here. Okay, right. Right, guys. So now let's see that how exactly you will be taking with this particular respective one here. Okay, right. So now if I'm just taking with this particular report, see the report. If we just go with this particular HTML report, You can clearly understand that how it has been executed here. Okay, now let's go with that particular HTML report. Workspace. So we got a report name Cucumber report. So which I will be taking with this particular respective of Cucumber report. See here, it is clearly mentioning the two past. So future one. So this is how I maintain two different files here. We can easily get understood what are the test cases it got executed. This I will be taking with TC001. Then you will be taking with TC002. So both the test cases has been executed here. Either you can go with individual automation script or you will be taking with test suite. Test suite means you are using with the command of that particular npm, and then you will be taking with that particular respective of run, and then you will be taking with this particular test. So in case of individual test cases, you are mentioning the Cucumber-JS, JS JavaScript, and then you will be taking with the tags. Tags are nothing but test case ID. Whatever the test case ID need to be get executed, you will be mentioning the test case ID. So based on that particular test case ID, it will be able to go with that particular test execution. So this is how you will be able to get work with these particular respective of Cucumber here. So this we will be taking with the whole conclusion, and while you will be working with the Cucumber as part of our requirement, we got in two folders. One is futures folder, another one is step definition folder. In the future folder, we got maintain. Okay, which you will be taking with, you will be having with, you will be mentioning that which you will be taking with the futures file, and then you will be taking with the step definition file. But whenever you are taking with the practice, you need to be little bit careful about the naming conventions. What are the things it has to match is, first thing, in a future file, whatever these particular steps are there, as it is including the keyword capital letter and small letter, it's need to match with your step definition file. In the step definition file, for every method, that particular statement has to match it. First thing you have to cross check. Second thing, you given the folder name, futures and steps. These folder names, as it is, it's need to be get matched with this particular one of cucumber.json. In cucumber.json, see the folder name, steps in a small letter. The same thing, it has to match it. Under that, it will refer .ts file. Then you will be taking futures folder. Under the futures folder, it will be referring with .future. Under the futures folder, it will be referring with that particular .future. That it's need to be get match it. Once it has been matching it, then it will go with the execution, and it has been able to generate, it will be taking with this particular HTML report. So here, which we are clearly mentioning that it's need to be get generated with the HTML report. That report need to be generated with the name of cucumber-report HTML. So how the execution will be done? Whenever it was taking with the execution, we got in one more file name, package.json. In the package.json, you got in a name is test, which will be taking with the cucumber-js. First, we have in a package.json. Package.json, it is connecting with the cucumber-js. Cucumber-js is connecting that particular future folder and steps folder, and it has been continued that particular execution here. So this is how you need to be get go with the connectivity. You have to be more careful while taking with that particular respective practice here. So this it will be mentioning that it will be taking with these particular respective of functional testing. So till now, what we got understand. So till now, what we got understand is which it will be taking with that particular respective of functional testing. In a similar way, we need to be get understand one more testing. That is what it will be taking with the new concept, which it will be mentioning that API testing. After functional testing, we have to go with another new concept. That is what it will be taking with this particular perspective of API testing. So let's understand what exactly mean by this particular API testing and how exactly we can work with this particular API testing. So for that, just you guys can write with the new heading. All you guys can write with the new heading. Mention the API testing. You guys can write with the new heading. Mention the web services or API testing. And then make a note of the description up to this particular highlighted one. First, make a note of the description up to this particular highlighted one. Just continue up to that particular highlighted one, guys. Done, guys? Okay. After that, just continue the same. After that, just continue the same. Make a note of this particular description up to this particular highlighted one. Just continue up to that particular highlighted one. Done, guys? Everyone has been done? Okay, right. Perfect, guys. Everyone is done, guys? Okay, right. So let's go with this particular new concept here, which we will be taking with this particular aspect of API testing here. So previously we done with that particular functional testing. Now we need to be get understand the API testing. See the concept which you will be taking with web services. Okay, so we can call as web services or you will be taking with that particular API testing. First, we'll understand that First, we'll understand that how exactly this particular API has been came into the picture. After that, we'll be taking with the API testing here. See the concept, guys. The common full form of API mentioned that application programming interface. Application programming interface, which you will be taking with that particular web services. You will be taking with this particular API, application programming interface. So what exactly mean by this and how it has been came into the picture? See that. To understand this particular concept in the simple way, first we will be taking with this particular aspect of Google Map. All you guys has been very well knowing about that particular Google Map. Along with that particular Google Map, as you are already knowing this particular aspect of cab booking, as already you are knowing this particular aspect of cab booking. So under that particular cab booking, you will be taking with this particular one. As an example, you're utilizing this particular Ola, or you will be taking with the Uber, or you will be taking this Rapido. So nowadays, n number of apps are available in the market. Okay. Continued with the same, you can go with this particular online food order, which you will be taking with online food order. If I'm just consider online food order, which you will be taking with that particular Uber Eats, right? So which you will be taking with that particular aspect of Uber Eats. And then you will be taking with this particular one, which you will be mentioning that you will be taking with this particular one, right? What are the things you got? Right. You got in a Swiggy, which you will be taking with that particular Zomato, right? So which you will be able to see n number of apps. Nowadays, you are able to see that you will be having these particular n number of apps are available here, right? So, okay. Now, as simple, which you will be taking with this particular one. Now, if we just compare with these particular things in a market, is that Google Map has been introduced first in the market, or these particular apps are introduced first in the market? Is it Google Map has been introduced first in the market, or these particular apps are introduced first in the market? Google Map, right? So Google Map has been introduced first in the market. Not only just introduced, we can say that one of the most successful product in the market. Now, if I just consider these particular Ola or Uber, these particular company, their main intention is they need to start this cab business. For doing the cab business, they required a map. Either it has been Google Map or not, that is a secondary. Either they required Google Map or not, that is a secondary, but they required a map. Now, what these people has been thinking about it, the Ola people has been thinking about to develop their own particular map. But if they want to develop their own particular map, what they have to do, they need to purchase satellite rights. They need to maintain development team. They have to maintain the testing team. They have to think about with the logic, maintenance, algorithms. A lot of things are there. So these many things they have been done and they have been doing the investment also. Is there any use of that? No, because their main business is cab booking, not map. So because of that, they're not like spending with the more budget and spending the more time on that. So rather than that, what these people has been decided. So rather than coming up with their own particular map, as already Google Map has been available, these people has been approached this particular Google company. And then they are discussing with the Google team to get utilize service of the Google Map. Please be very clear, guys. They are not asking that to sell with the whole product of the Google Map. They are asking about service of the Google Map. So by that, what will happen? So here, the Google team will be benefited and these particular Ola people also got benefited. It's a kind of mutual understanding of the business. So if I just go with this particular Google team, they are benefited because for them, revenue will be generated. Not only revenue will be generated, all the code will be with that particular Google team only. All that particular code will be with that particular perspective of Google team only. Right? So which it will be taking with, which it will be taking with all that particular one. So all that particular code will be with that particular perspective of Google team only here. So that is what it will be taking it, which it will be taking with the help of all that particular code. It will be having that particular Google team. So by that, those people got and benefited. At the same time, these particular Ola people also get benefited. The reason they can just invest very less amount only. They are not worried about satellite, right? They are not worried about with the technology. They are not worried about any of the remaining things here. They will look into their business rather than looking into this particular one. But only the problem is how they will be able to provide with the service. It's not like an hardware, right? So in case of that particular hardware is like totally different thing. In case of that particular perspective of the hardware is it will be taking with totally different one. Because the best example to understand this API concept, you can take with the help of that particular cab booking. So cab booking, you guys want to travel in a car. So to get travel in a car rather than purchasing with the own vehicle, lot of investment. So rather than that, you are just taking with the booking of the cab. So by that, you are benefited. You have been traveled in the car only, which you have been traveled in that particular car only. At the same time, that particular cab people also got benefited. So that particular cab people also got benefited. Right? So because revenue has been generated for that particular people here. So that is how you will be taking with these particular respective of that particular cab booking can be done. The same concept applied in this particular IT industry also. To understand this concept in a more better way, the best example it can go with the manufacturing industry. Take an example of BMW. BMW, they want to manufacturing the vehicle. But is that the BMW has been manufacturing the whole vehicle? Is that particular BMW has been manufacturing with the whole vehicle? No, right? So they are not handling manufacturing with the whole vehicle. So what exactly they are doing? They are assembling it. They will design the vehicle model. Once vehicle model has been designed, according to that particular vehicle model, according to that particular perspective of the vehicle model. So they will purchase the engine from the different company, tires from the different company, body cover from the different company. Right? So everything they will be purchasing this particular from the different companies here, and then they will be assembling it according to their particular design. So by that, BMW got benefited because within a less time, they can they can product more vehicles here. In the same way, other vendors also got benefited because for them revenue has been generated. So that is what I will be taking with mutual understanding of the business here. So slowly, the same concept has been applied in the IT industry also. In this particular IT industry also, you doesn't require to go everything from the scratch. Just everything built-in APIs will be available as part of your requirement. Just will be integrating that particular API. The best example in a mobile, you are able to see weather API, weather information is being displayed. So the mobile company has been connected with that particular weather API or your cricket live score. Previously, we need to refer with the website of the CricBuzz, but now not like into the CricBuzz here, right? So which you will be taking with that particular perspective of you will be having rather than that particular perspective of that particular CricBuzz, just in a mobile only, you are able to see with the live score. So here, what I'm trying to get explained is in this particular current market, everything you doesn't require to develop from the scratch level. So how the BMW is assembling in the vehicle, in the same way software also we can make the assemble only. So that is what they done here. Now we got an Ola company, they want to run their business, they required in a map, they want to connect it with the Google map. But they cannot share both the together their original code. Ola company, they cannot give an original code to the Google. Google cannot share the Google map code to the Ola. Because of that, in between of these two, they develop one API. So that is what I got in a full form application programming interface. It's like a mediator between two different applications here. So that API indirectly you will be taking with the URL here. Now, how these particular two things are connected, how this particular service has been provided, that is what I will be taking with the web. That you got in a terminology web service. You got in a terminology of web service. Web is nothing but internet. If I'm just taking with that particular web service, that particular web is nothing but internet here. If I'm taking with the web, if I'm just taking with that particular web, web is nothing but it will be taking with internet here. Okay, that is the reason you guys can cross check that in your mobile without having with the mobile data. Can you book in a cab? Or without having with the mobile data, can you go with online food order? No, it is mandatory of the mobile data. It is mandatory of that particular internet because that particular service has been connected with that particular internet only. So that particular service has been connected with that particular internet only. So that is what I will be taking with, that is what I will be mentioning, that I will be taking with these particular respective steps here, which I will be taking with this particular API concept here, which I will be taking with application programming interface. So mediator between two different applications, mediator between that particular two different applications here. Right? So this is how you will be taking with this particular concept. In this way, you will be taking with the concept of that particular API here. Right? The whole conclusion is as part of this particular current market, you doesn't require anything we have to do from the scratch level, which you will be taking with that particular assemble. Okay, this is concept wise, but our requirement is API testing. So what exactly mean by that particular API testing? How exactly we can do that particular API testing? See here, if I'm just taking with this particular API testing, so that particular API testing, we can say that, we can mention that it will be having conform or conforming requests and response. Conforming requests and response working correctly or not. Because there is no concept of UI. While working with the API testing, you will be having URL. URL will be provided. But even though we got an URL, there is no concept of UI. Because of that, as there is no UI, what you are testing, request and response has been sending correctly or not, or working correctly or not. You are opening the Ola app. Once you got open the Ola app, immediately it's need to send the request to that particular Google Map. So Google Map need to be get sent with the response. So that particular request and response has been working correctly or not, it will be taking with this particular one of this API testing here. Right? Okay. But how you will confirm? As there is no UI, how you will be confirming that that is working correctly or not? So for that, you will be taking with the help of that particular status code, which you will be taking with the help of that particular status code. So that particular status code, as an example, you will be taking with the 200. So that particular status code, as an example, you will be taking with that particular 200. So the meaning of 200, it will be mentioning that okay, or which it will be saying that successful. In the same way, it will be taking with 201. That particular 201, it will be taking with request is created. So in the same way, it will be taking with the 400. That particular 400, it will be taking bad request. It will be taking with the 401, which it will be taking with unauthorized here, which it will be taking with unauthorized. So this is how you are having n number of status codes are there, not only these things. As an example, I have been written, this is how you are having n number of status codes has been available. Okay, so now the first understanding the concept of that particular API testing is confirming that particular request and then response has been working correctly or not. That is what we will be taking with this particular API testing here. So how exactly we can go with this particular API testing? So how exactly we can go with this particular perspective of API testing is see that. If I just go with this particular one, send this particular respective one, like while working this particular TypeScript, in TypeScript, we are having n number of methods are available. In the same way, we done with the playwright. In playwright also, we are having n number of the methods. In a similar way, while working this particular API also, it will be taking with this particular API methods and it will be taking with that particular API request, which you will be taking with that particular API method and you will be taking with that particular API request. So here, while working this particular perspective of API, the very regular methods and the common methods, there are n number of methods are there, but mainly we have to understand that get method, post method, put method, which it will be taking with delete method. So while working this particular perspective of API, you have to work on that, which it will be taking with get method and then post method and then put method, which it will be taking with that particular delete method here. Okay, so here the meaning of this particular perspective of delete method, sorry, get method. If I'm just taking with the get method, we can say that read only, considering that sending request and then it will be taking with that particular getting response, sending with the request and getting with the response here. In the same way, you will be taking with the post method. So post method, which you will be mentioning that you will be taking with to create new request, to create new request for server, to create new request for server. So post method is to create new request for server. Then you will be taking with put method. Put method you will be taking with to update request for server. To update request for server, that you will be taking with put method. Then you will be taking with the delete, which you will be taking with to delete request for server. Delete method is, we can say that we can mention that to delete request for server, that it will be taking with delete method. Okay, so that is what I will be taking with get method and then post method. put method, you will be taking with delete method. Okay. Along with this, while working these particular respective API related to the functional testing, we got n number of tools has been available. In a similar way, while working these particular API also in a market, we are having n number of tools has been available. So as an example, the one you will be taking with that particular soap EY, and then you will be taking with that particular jersey, and then you will be taking with the postman, which you will be taking with that particular rest assured, and then you will be taking with this particular swagger, and along with that we got an a that particular playwright. This is how in a market we are having these particular n number of tools has been available. So in this particular current market, we are having n number of tools are available. Which tool need to be used? It depends on that particular project, depends on that particular company. But for now, we are understanding to work with that particular playwright. That playwright also, we are working with the playwright automation, not manual. Please be very clear. It can be any kind of testing. It will be taking with the two things here. Functional testing, API testing, or which will be taking database, anything, you will be having this particular one, manual testing, and which you will be taking with automation testing. Manual testing and which you will be taking with that particular automation testing here. So manual testing, as usual, you have to implement this particular step. Manual testing, you have to implement this particular step, which you will be taking with that particular SDLC. So same thing, even related to the API, first you need to be get understand the requirement, which you will be taking with understanding with the requirement. And then you will be taking with that particular test plan, which you will be taking with that particular test scenarios. And then you will be taking with the test cases. And along with that, you will be taking with test execution, which you will be taking with the bug reporting. Then you will be taking with that particular test closure. So this is what as it is will be continued even related to that particular API also. So while working with the API also related to that particular API, you have to go with related to that particular respective API, you have to be get go with in utilizing these particular manual steps here. Now, for you guys to get in a more better understanding of these particular requirements related to the API, you can refer the Adactine requirement document, which is already uploaded in your Google Drive in a very starting days of our automation sessions. While discussing about the projects, I have been uploaded these particular SRS document. In that particular Adactine SRS document, you will be able to see all these particular API documentation. So just you can go through these particular things. You guys will get in a more clear picture how requirements will be provided related to the API. Like get request, we need to have 200. Post request 201. When you're working actual testing, if you're working with the post request, you need to be get 201. In case of, you will be taking with that particular, right? So in case of that particular post request, you will be having with that particular any other code, not only post request. For these are all the status code it has to be displayed any other status code has been provided, then it will go with in printing, reporting that particular bug. So just you need to be spend some time related to the manual. You can refer not only manual, even it will help you for automation also. Now, while working that particular API, you required an URLs here. Without having with the URL, we cannot continue. You guys need to go with the practice with these particular URLs here. So that you will be taking with the manual. Along with that, you will be taking with the automation. So that automation only you will be taking with the tool. That particular tool you will be taking with that particular playwright here. By taking with the help of that particular playwright, we are able to continue that particular playwright automation. But for doing this particular playwright automation, you required two things here. One, you have been required that particular API key, and another one API URLs here. API key you required, and which you will be taking with that particular API URLs. API key you have to generate. For the practice purpose, you guys need to generate that particular API key. For that, you can refer with the website that you will be taking with request response.in. Here you got an option, get your free API key. You cannot utilize my API key at the time of explanation. For your practice purpose, you need to utilize your API key only, which you need to go with that particular API key. This API URLs, for now, you are having in SRS document. In the real time, there is a chance from the development team, or you will be taking with the client team, you will be getting that particular API URLs here. So, but first what you have to do is to get in a more understanding, and then taking with the practice purpose, you have to refer this particular respective website, and then you need to go with in registering it, doing with the sign up, and you have to generate one particular API key here. So by that, very easily we can go with in working that particular respective of API testing here. So now in practical, we have to look into that API automation. But before taking into the practical, first we have to understand that why we require these many things here. First, we need to understand that why we have been required these many things here. The meaning is, if I just go with these particular functional testing, API testing, database, AI, why these many testings are required? Why not only one testing is enough? That we have to get in a clear picture. For that, we have to understand the architecture of the software. Like one-tier architecture, two-tier architecture, three-tier. There is a concept of that particular architecture concept here. So that we need to be discussed. That I will be discussing on Monday. So Monday, first I will be discussing about the architecture concept. And along with that, we have to understand some of the terminologies related to the URL. Related to the URL, we have to understand some terminologies that we'll be discussing it. And then we'll be taking with practical example of Playwright API automation. With the help of the Playwright only, we are able to do that particular API automation that we will be taking with that particular Playwright API automation. Will be looking into that. And then we'll go with database testing. After that, we'll be taking with AI testing concepts here. Okay, so please take care about all these particular things. Refer that SRS document and try to generate that particular API key. By that, it will be very easy to understand this concept. So on Monday, I'll be taking with the practical part here. Okay? Clear everyone? Right. Any questions? You guys can carry on your questions. Online students, you can continue your questions.
Yeah, hi sir.
Yes.
Uh, why the report is being overridden, sir? Because each and every time when we are running, the report is being overridden instead of creating the dynamic reports.
Because it will take same folder, same file name, right? So as it was taking with the same file name, whatever your existing report is there, it will overwrite it. It's not like only Cucumber. Even in Playwright also the same thing will happen. That is the default feature. In case if you want to maintain multiple reports, all the reports need to be maintained, then we need to write an additional code for that file name need to append with the date and time. Then at that particular time, we got a possibility to go with that particular, all the reports will maintain here.
Okay.
Okay.
Do we have any session to cover that as well, sir, or else?
No, that is the general, just you need to write one small method related to date append. That's it.
Okay, okay, okay.
Okay. Right.
Thank you.
So
Yeah.
related to this API key, so once we generate, can we use that multiple times or will it get expired for after some time being?
I think the trial versions they are giving up to 14 days. Previously, they are giving for lifelong, but now I think they are restricted. So regularly they are changing it. But for the practice purpose, at least you can utilize more than 2 weeks. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Right. Next. All right, guys.
Hello, sir.
Oh, yes.
Uh, could you please explain that package.json files? Just open.
Hmm.
Um, like cucumber.js. This is the folder name or file name. Hello, sir.
This is which it will be taking with this particular property. This is not like in a file name. So as part of that particular Cucumber, it will understand that it's need to be refer with the test cases here. It is not in a folder name. We have not created any folder name of the test. Okay.
Then what it is, sir? Test means here what it is.
You can understand like that is in a one property name as part of the Cucumber.
Okay. Cucumber-js also like that.
Cucumber.js you are having, right? This is what your file, cucumber.json file.
Okay. Okay. .json, you're writing like this.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Okay.
.json, .future files. These are all Jerkin language files.
No, only future file. Only future file. This is the Jerkin language. Remaining all the things are the JSON language. All this is JSON language.
JSON also a particular language name.
Yes, JSON format will say that.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So Postman we are not discussing, guys, but in the place of Postman also we are taking with the Playwright. So as part of previously we got in a Postman, Rahul, but now we are taking with the Playwright. Okay. All right, guys. No more other questions, right? Okay then. Please take care about the practice. Meet you on Monday. Thank you.